Climate Hub. I'm going to visit with you about GrassCast, which is a grassland growth forecast for the Great Plains and the Southwest. GrassCast is made possible through a collaboration with USDA, the National Drought Mitigation Center, and several universities. Grass growth is a complex process hinged on getting the right amount of moisture at the right time. But since forecasting is unreliable at best, no one knows for sure how much moisture we're going to get until the growing season's over. In the meantime, hay markets can rise, cattle markets can fall, and the range can be damaged in such a way that lasts for years or even decades. This damages the rangeland for a long time, but it also damages the livestock or the livelihoods and the culture of the people living there, all while we're waiting to find out how much moisture will we get and how much grass might grow. Therefore, GrassCast was created to help us see what might be coming in the future. Let me get rid of some of the stuff on my screen. GrassCast takes the soils information, combines it with the plant communities growing there, adds in past weather data, and creates a current soil water profile. It then adds in future possible temperature and precipitation scenarios to come up with a prediction of the total production for the coming year. But as I mentioned, forecasts aren't always correct. So GrassCast uses 3 possible weather scenarios instead. What if rainfall between now and the end of the growing season is above normal? What if it's near normal? What if rainfall is below normal? How much production might we expect in each of those 3 conditions? And presto, we have GrassCast maps. Now there's a lot of colors here. It can seem pretty overwhelming, so don't panic on me. I'll take it apart for you here in just a moment. For now, let's suffice it to say that the maps are telling us, based on the observed weather to date, plus future weather scenarios, we expect grassland production in your area to be some percent higher or lower than your area's 36-year average. Arizona and New Mexico, you're unique in that you have 2 separate and distinct green up periods. One is in the spring. Our maps come out April to May, but the spring growth is based on precipitation and temperatures from January through May. And then there's like a hard stop there, and we start summer growth. Maps are created from June to September, based again on precipitation and temperatures, actual and anticipated from June through August. So let's take a look at the GrassCast maps. Now remember, this color code is comparing to long-term average vegetative production. In the Southwest, it's 36 years. The blue hues, we'll start at the bottom of the legend. The blue hues are above average production expected. Green is near average, and the yellow to red is below average vegetative production. The gray areas are places where we're lacking data, or we just lack confidence in the predictions. And it's not any higher, those predictions aren't any higher than flipping a coin. And so you will see there's some gray areas in the maps for this year that were not included in last year because we didn't realize last year how poor the confidence level was in those maps. We're really grateful for the production information from the Navajo Nation, and we're working hard to go through it and adjust the model so it'll work for you for those areas again. So let's take a look at a map. The maps were made July 13th, 2021. This is an above average precipitation prediction. Take a look across the map and you can see how even above average precipitation didn't have such rosy predictions for some of the areas. We're going to focus here on Luna County. You can see most of the map is dark blue. If we look at the legend on the left-hand side, we can see that dark blue corresponds to expecting 30% or more pounds per acre than the area's 36-year average. But this is above average precipitation. What about a near average or normal precipitation? Well, we still have some blue color there. Most of the county is at light blue, so we look at the legend, that corresponds to 5 to 15% more pounds per acre than the area's long-term average. What if the spigot shuts off, as we've been discussing, tends to happen down in this area? Well, now the county turns mostly yellow. And if we look at the legend, yellow corresponds to 5 to 15% less pounds per acre than the area's 36-year average. This is the forecast made July 13th. Well, if I have a place in Luna County, I might like to know, well, am I in the orange or am I in the yellow? Or if I'm in the northeast corner, I'm hoping I'm in the green area. So how do I find out where I sit exactly compared to where these lines are? Well, you can use the zoom feature. Click on the GrassCast zoomable map link on the left-hand side of the menu. Remember to click the Southwest button, otherwise you'll just see the Great Plains map. You can zoom into 6 mile by 6 mile grids. So use the plus or minus signs to zoom in, and then click on the spot that represents the area of your interest. When you do, a pop-up box will come up and it'll tell you what the prediction is or the forecast is for that particular grid cell. So left to right, above average, near normal, below average precipitation. On the left-hand side, we can see the box tells us we're expecting 30% more than the area's 36-year average if we have above average precipitation. If we're near average or normal precipitation, why, we're still looking pretty good, 8% more than the area's 36-year average. If the spigot shuts off, not so rosy, but we might expect that, 15% less than the area's 36-year average for this particular grid cell that I clicked on. We have modified these pop-up boxes this year to provide more information. So because Southwest has 2 separate forecasting seasons, the pop-up box will read something like this. Since June 1st, because we're restarting the summer forecasting season, it tells us how much the model thinks you've received based on the PRISM data and other data that we're bringing in out of how many inches we're expecting for that particular grid cell. And then it will also add in this little piece of information of how much more is GrassCast assuming will fall to create that particular map. So the first 2 numbers will be the same for all 3 maps. You've received so much inches and there's so much of an average, but the additional moisture will change as you go across those 3 maps. So you can compare your own measurements to what GrassCast is using to see how representative is that map for what you've been measuring. As much as we want you to use GrassCast, we do not want you to misuse GrassCast. GrassCast is not an excuse for not going out on the rangeland and taking a look at it with your own eyes. Remember, this is an end of season forecast. This isn't how much grass is out there now. We're looking out to the end of the growing season. How much grass do we expect to be out there? You've got to put, as I mentioned, boots and eyes on the ground to see what's out there. Here's a picture looking across. Here's a picture of that same site looking down. Whole different vision, isn't it? Don't use GrassCast as a sole source of information for making any kind of management decisions. GrassCast doesn't know how much vegetation's out there. GrassCast doesn't know what species are out there. GrassCast does not know if the rain soaked in, if it ran off or evaporated into the air. GrassCast does not know how healthy your plants are. GrassCast also is a total production loss. It's not a grazing loss or a gain. So GrassCast should not be used as a sole source for making any kind of grazing loss or gain decisions. So check us out, grasscast.unl.edu, or just type GrassCast into your favorite web browser. Landing page will come up. Click on the map archive if you'd like to see what the maps looked like last year or earlier this spring for the Southwest. For the zoomable, click on the zoomable map link on the left-hand side. Remember to click that radio button for the Southwest. We have an introductory video that helps explain what we're trying to accomplish with GrassCast. Just under the introductory video, there's several videos on how to read the maps and tutorials that can help you out if you're a little uncertain. And again, just as a reminder, there is a large grayed out area this year. It's because we just found out that our maps are really not very good at predicting for these areas. And the more data we can gather and process into the model, why the better our maps will be. So if you have any questions or comments, we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know how well it's doing. What would you like to see different on the website? And how can we make it more useful to you? And thank you for the time.